Good day, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the January 2021 past paper. This paper seems to be infamous because of how hard it was. So today we're going to be taking a look at it. So we have some instructions here. You may pause the video and read the instructions if necessary. But the only required tools for this examination is the electronic calculator and a geometry set. Okay. So let's take a look at number one. So we are told using a calculator or otherwise calculate the exact value, and they make sure and put exact in caps. So we are told to calculate the exact value of this sum here. So we have to change everything to an improper fraction. That is how I do it. Right? There are other ways. So we have 7 by 1 is 7 plus 4 is 11. That's 11 over 7 plus 2/3 minus 11 over 6. This is the same as everything over 126 because six is 42. 42 by 2, it is 84. And 6 into 126 is 21. 11 by 21 is 231. Simplifying this, we have 198 plus 84 minus 231. That is 51 over 126. And this is interesting because they are both divisible by 3. So we can divide 51 by 3 and get 17. And dividing 126 by 3, we get 42. And I believe this is in its simplest form. So that is the answer for the first one. The second one, we have the cube root of 27 is cube root of 27 over 9. They want the fraction in its lowest terms. So the cube root of 27 is 3. So let's just rewrite the question. So that is 3 over 9 squared is 81. And we can simplify this a little bit. 3 into 3 is 1. 3 into 81 is 27. Okay, so that was that one. So part B asks us that, well, tells us that the thickness of one sheet of cardboard is 485 by 10 to the minus 2 millimeters. A construction worker uses 75 sheets of cardboard stacked together to insulate a wall, show that the exact thickness is 363.75. Now notice we have the thickness of one sheet is 4.85 millimeters. That is because we can move the decimal point 2 ways that way, so we can get back to the original value. And we want to multiply that by 75 sheets to get how much thickness that the 75 sheets provide. And this happens to be exactly 363.75 millimeters of thickness. So the access to write the thickness of the insulation correct is two significant figures. Remember, zeros before the decimal point is not significant. So the two significant figures is 360 millimeters. Right, the two significant figures here is 3 and 6. Correct to one decimal place. So we have to look at this number here. If it is 5 or more, we add 1 to the previous decimal place. If it is lower than 5, we just leave it alone. So we get 363.8 millimeters. And they want us to write it in standard form. So to put something in standard form, we have to move the decimal place until there's only one significant figure in front of it. So that's this way. Right, so we have to move it across twice. So this is 3.6375 by 10 to the minus 2 millimeters. Sorry, not 10 to the minus 2. That is 10 to the positive 2, since you're moving that way. So it's 10 to the positive 2 millimeters. Marco is on vacation in the Caribbean, and he changes 4,500 Mexican pesos to Eastern Caribbean dollars. He receives 630 Eastern Caribbean dollars. Complete the statement below. Well, if he exchanges 4,500 and he gets 630, then 1 ECD is equal to 4,500 divided by 630 MXN, and that turns out to be $7.14. All right, remember we use 2 decimal places because since we're dealing with money, the lowest we could get is 1 cent, which is the second decimal place. Number 2, factorize the following expressions completely. So notice that the numbers in front have a LCM, sorry, a HCF of 4. So we could factor 4 out, and they also have n. So we could factor an n out as well to get 3n minus 4, sorry, minus m. And if you want, you could distribute it to see if you get back the answer. 4 by 3 is 12, n by n is n squared, and 4n by minus m is minus 4mn. So they want us here to show that x over 1 minus x minus 4 is equal to that right-hand side. So we could start with the left-hand side. So we have x over 1 minus x minus 4x. We could find our LCM. We could look at this as 4x over 1, which is equal to, so the LCM of 1 minus x and 1 is 1 minus x. So we have 1 minus x into 1 minus x is 1. 1 by x is x. Minus 4x. Now, 1 into 1 minus x is 1 minus x. So we have to multiply the 4x by 1 minus x. Expanding, we have x minus 4x plus 4x squared, because negative by negative is positive. And that is all over 1 minus x. So simplifying this further, we have 4x squared. Allow me to write that in front. X minus 4x is minus 3x divided by 1 minus x. And simplifying this by factoring an x, we have x into 4x minus 3, all divided by 1 minus x. And we could say something like the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So we are done with the proof. All right, because notice we got exactly what is on this side. So they say hence solve the equation. Well, we know that this is exactly equal to x times 4x minus 3. Now, let us look at our original problem. We cannot allow x to be equal to 1 because we'll have a 0 in the denominator, which is not allowed. We are not allowed to divide by 0. But we are in luck here, because if we have a fraction equal to 0, that immediately implies that the numerator is 0 because we said that x is not equal to negative, is not equal to 1. So that means the denominator is never 0. So that would imply that the numerator is 0. Since we have a fraction equal to 0, that means that x into 4x minus 3 is equal to 0. And this gives us two solutions. Either, since we have a product equal to 0, that means one of them have to be equal to 0. So that means x is equal to 0, or 4x minus 3 is equal to 0. So 4x is equal to 3, dividing both sides by 4, we get x is equal to 3/4. Okay? That's the solution for this one. Is either x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 3/4. This one asks us to make v the subject of the formula. So notice that v is under the square root. So we want to get rid of the square root. So we have p is equal to the square root of 5 plus v t, squaring both sides to get rid of the square root. The square and the square root cancel, so we have p squared is equal to 5 plus vt. And solving for v, we could minus 5 from both sides. So we have vt is equal to p squared minus 5, and finally dividing by t. We have v is equal to p squared minus 5 over t. And if you want to be extra, you could put t cannot be equal to 0, and 5 plus vt must be bigger than 0. Greater than or equal to 0. Because since we are taking the square root, we cannot have the square root of a negative number. And since we are dividing by t, we cannot allow t to be 0. The distance needed to stop a car, d, varies directly. So we have d varies directly as the square. So we have the square of the speed, so that is s squared, at which it is traveling. And they give us some values. So remember, to get rid of the proportionality sign, we simply write d is equal to k, where this is our constant of proportionality. We have s squared. Okay, so it is traveling at 70 kilometers per hour. So we have 70 kilometers per hour is our speed. And it requires a distance of 40 meters to make this stop. So the corresponding distance is 40 meters. So we have 40 is equal to k times 70 squared. So k is equal to 40 divided by 70 squared, which is equal to 0.0082 approximately. Right, so I should probably write this as approximately. So we could say that d, since we know the value for k, d is equal to 0.0082 s squared. Now they ask us what distance is required to stop the car traveling at 80 kilometers per hour. So we have distance is equal to 0.0082 times 80 squared. And using BODMAS, we know to do the orders first. So we have d is equal to 0.0082 times 80 squared is 6,400. And simplifying finally. We get which simplifies to 52.48 meters. Okay. Number 3 tells us about the diagram below. Shows two pentagons. Yes, these are pentagons because they are 5-sided figures. And they want they want us to select the correct word that completes the statement below. So look at P and Q. Notice that this side and this side is the same. This side and this side is the same. And this side and this side is the same. So if we were to impose this or superimpose this on its or superimpose P onto Q, we will get it exactly equal. And that means it is congruent. Right? And I'll just give the reason. Since P superimposed on Q, well, we cannot tell the difference, so I could say is invariant. Or you could say that all their sides are equal and they are the same shape. So all sides are equal. And the same shape. Okay, thank you. So that is the answer for number 2. So part B tells us the diagram below, not drawn to scale, shows a pentagon VWXYZ. So yes, this is an X pentagon. It is a 5-sided figure. In the pentagon, YZ is parallel to XW and YX is parallel to VW. The angle XWZ is equal to 114, while VZY is 98. So before we take a look at the question, let us do some work so we can extend these lines a little. So notice that this angle, well, we can extend this one a little bit more. Right, and we can extend this way. Okay, but we may do something different for V and Z, we would see just now. So notice that this angle here, it is exactly 66 degrees because this is a straight line, so the angles must add up to 180. Which would mean that this angle here is also 66 degrees because alternating angles are equal. And this would imply that this angle here is 114 as well, for the same reason. But instead of doing this one, I would like to do, drop a perpendicular this way. So I would extend this line and do a perpendicular line like that. So if this is 66, right? If this is 66, hope you can see where it's coming from, because the angle here is still 66. That would imply that this angle here, because this is 90, because of construction, we constructed a perpendicular. Right? We need 66 plus something to give us 90 because we already have 90 to add up to the 180. And that will be 24. So this is 24 degrees, which would mean that this angle here, so we have 24 plus 98. Right, and we need to subtract that from 180, which will give us 58 degrees right here. Right, and since this is a 90 degrees by construction, that would mean that this angle here is 42. No, sorry, 32. This angle here is 32, which would leave this angle here to be 180 minus 32, which is 148 degrees. Okay, and well, the last thing we could do, we have to recall or you could use other methods, but this is one of my favorite methods. We can recall that the sum of the angles in a polygon is given by this formula, n minus 2 times 180, where n is the number of sides. So in a pentagon, we have 5 sides. So in a 5-sided figure, so we have a 5-sided figure, we have 5 minus 2 is 3. Sorry, not 18 degrees, it's supposed to be 180. Right, 3 by 180 is 540. So this is the sum of the angles enclosed. So this angle here would be 540 degrees minus the rest of the angles, which will give you 114 degrees. Now, this would have been obvious as well, but I wanted to put this formula here. Why was it obvious? Because if we look right here, this is Z angles. So since these are parallel lines and this line intersects the parallel lines, this angle have to be equal to this angle. All right, so let's see what they need. So they ask us to determine WXY. So WXY, that's 66 degrees. That's what we found. And ZVW is this angle here, which is 148. And finally, well, that was it. Okay, so, well, degrees, don't forget the unit. Make sure I have the unit. Part C tells us that the letter A and the point C, 6 are shown on the grid below, and they want us to enlarge the letter A by a scale factor of 2. So how we do that is we find every point that we are interested in. That's these points here. We'll deal with the cross section a little later. So we have from the point C, we have 1, 2 across and 1, 2 down. So to enlarge it by 2, we double those distances. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's this point right here. All right, allow me to use a different color. Let's use red. I believe it was right here. This one was 1, 2, 3 across and 1, 2, 3, 4 down. So we have to go 6 across and 8 down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's this point right here. That's right here. And finally, the last one, it is 1 across and 1, 2, 3, 4 down. So you have to go 2 across and 8 down. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's right here. So the last bit of points that we are interested in is these 2 points right here, which would be, well, it would seem that it is a halfway through. So we have halfway through one of these small boxes. So we have 1 and 3 across, and we have to go down 1, 2, and 4.5 down. So you have to multiply those by 2. So we have to go 2 and 6 across. So we have 1, well, 6 is across is right here. That's along this line. And then we have to go, since it was 1, 2, and 4.5, it will be, well, 2 and 4.5, that is 2.45. So 2.45 divided by, well, multiplied by 2 is 4.9 down. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 9. So we have 5 and 4 is right here. And then okay, so I'll just drawing the lines. So this is what it would look like, and you would see that the scale or the size of the letter has been doubled. Okay. So the translation of the letter A using the vector -3, 2. So the translation, remember, our translation only shifts it. So what this tells us is shift it 3 across and 2 down. So 3 across would be 1, 2, 3. So allow me to use a different color. I hope purple is visible. You would see. So 3 across, 1, 2, 3. So that's this point. And it was saying 2 up. Right, so 3 across to the left and 2 up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's this point right here. This point here will also move 3 across and 2 up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's this point right here. This point here would move 3 across, 1, 2, 3, and 2 up. That's right here. And drawing that would be and that will be and this will be our shape. Notice that nothing changed other than the location. All that translation does is move it from one location to the next, preserving its shape. So we are told number 4. So number 4, the function f is defined as f of x, or f takes a value x, and we have 3 and minus into x from it. So we have the value for a. So we have 3. So f of -1 will be f of -1. So f of -1 will be 3 minus 2 times -1, which is equal to 3 plus 2, which is equal to 5. So that means a is equal to 5. They ask us now to determine in their simplest form an expression for the inverse of f. So remember, to find the inverse, of 4y. Now this new y will be our inverse. So what we have, so we have f of x is equal to 3 minus 2x. So we have y is equal to 3 minus 2x. Next step means, well, next step tells us to interchange. So we have x is equal to 3 minus 2y. And solving for y, we get 2y is equal to 3 minus x, and finally divided by 2 gives us y is equal to 3 minus x over 2. So that means f inverse x is equal to 3 minus x over 2. The composite function f squared x, that means f of x. So that means we have 3 minus 2, and wherever we see x in f of x, we put an f of x there. So we have 3 minus 2x, expanded and simplifying. We have 3 minus 6 plus 2x, distributed in -2. So we have 2x, 3 minus 6, it is -3. So we have f squared of x is equal to 2x minus 3. And this one may look hard, but it is simple. Remember, anytime we compose a function with its inverse, we get the identity function or whatever is in the argument. So this answer is just -2. Part B tells us, telling us to, using a ruler, draw the lines x equal a half, y equal x, and y plus x equal 5 on the grid below. So x equal a half, so that's this line right here. Right, so let's see if I could extend this line a little bit. Right, so that's x equal a half, because this is exactly the point but this is exactly the point 0.5 here. Now they want us to draw the line y equal x. Y equal x is a straight line, so that's like whenever x is 1, y is 1, whenever x is 2, y is 2, and so on. So it's a 45-degree line passing through the center like that. Right, so let me just fix it. So this is the line y equal x. Remember, you're supposed to use a ruler. And last one tells us the line y plus x equal 5. Now, y plus x equal 5 is the same as saying y is equal to -x plus 5. Now we could choose some nice points. So let's choose when x is equal to 0. And if x is equal to 0, y is equal to 5. So that's this point right here. If x is equal to 5, y is equal to 0, because -5 plus 5 is 0. So when x is 5, y is 0. And let's choose another one. So if x is -1, if x is 1, y is -1 plus 5, that's that's +4. When y is 1, x is 4. So that's this point right here. So that's it. All we need to do now is connect these 3 points that we chose. You could have done more points if you like, but I think these points are sufficient. And that is the point. That is the line y equal x. So it may be important, or maybe wise for us to label our line. So this is the line y equal x. This is the line y plus x equal 5. And this is the line x is equal to a half. So now they want us to shade or label as R the region where x is bigger than a half. So that's going this way. X is greater than or equal to x. So that is this way. And x plus y is less than or equal to 5. So that's going on this way. So what they want is this region here that we will label as R. As the region enclosed. And that concludes number 4. So we are told number 5, 60 students took an algebra test, which comprised 15 multiple choice questions. The number of correct answers that each student obtained is recorded in the table below. So using the table, determine the number of students who had exactly 13 correct answers. So the number of correct answers, so 11 students got the correct answers, 13 correct answers. The modal number of correct answers, is the number of students who got, which number of students was the most, so that corresponds to this one. So the modal number of correct answers is 9. So that is 9. So this plays a role as frequency. And this is what we are examining. Well, this is our test. So this was the most frequent. 14 students scored 9 correct answers. The median number of correct answers, that is the number in the middle. So the sum of these numbers is 6 and 14 is 20. That's 22, 28, 30, 41, 50, and 10 is 60. So the middle of 60 will be the 30th and 31st value. That each side will have the 29. So the 31st and the, so that happens around 30.5 of the students. Right, sorry, half, so that's at the 30 mark, because we could use a cumulative frequency as well. So half of that is 30, so let's see. So that is 6 and 14 is 20, and 2 is 22, and 6 is 28, and 2 is 30. So the median mark is 12. Right, which you could have seen here as well. All right, so the median is 12. So the probability that a student chosen at random had at least 12 correct answers. So at least 12 means 12 or greater. So at least 12. So we have 2 and 11 is 13, and 9 is 22, and 10 is 32. So we have 32 of all the people, which was 60. Simplifying this, we could get division by 4. So 4 into 8 is 4 into 32 is 8, and 4 into 60 is 15. So you have 8 over 15 chance of choosing that student. So part B, a group of physics students wrote a physics examination. Each of the students achieved a grade 1 to 4, right? 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. The pie chart below shows the results. And we are asked to determine the total number of students who wrote the examination. Well, we are told that 39 students achieved a grade C. So what fraction of the circle is this? Well, we have 117 over 360 times the total number of students. If we say let X be the total number of students, then this was equal to 39. So multiplying by 360, we have 117 is X is equal to 39 by 360. And finally, dividing by 117, we get that X is equal to, right? So 39 by 360 is equal to 14,040, and dividing that by 117 will give you 120 students. So the total number of students, allow me to just copy this and put it where I will get the marks in the weekend. That's right here. Okay, so we know that it's 120 students in total. Now they say that this pie chart, they never say that the pie chart is drawn to scale. Okay, so I know some of you may be tempted to put a 90-degree angle here. That would be incorrect, because they never say that it is drawn to scale, nor is that 90 degrees. Okay, so the ratio of the number of students who achieved a grade 1, 2, or 4. Let's see, this spread tells us about 1, 2s, and 4s. And we recall that 39 students has grade 3s. So this only tells us about 120 minus 39, which is 81 students. right? So we have 81 students in this data set here, right? So this is not the answer. So let's just box this, right? Because that's not the answer. So we have how much shares? It is 2 to 4 to 3. So we have 2 plus 4 is 6 plus 3 is 9. So we have 9 shares. Okay, so now now look at what they asked. They only care about the 1, 2, and 3. We do not need to know how much people got 4s, as yet at least. So we need to calculate how much people got 1s. So we have a 2 over 9 times 81 people got 1s. So that is equal to 9 into 9, 1, 9 into 81 is 9, 9 2s are 18. So 18 students got a 1. So that is grade 1. How much people got grade 2? So that is 4 over 9 times 81. So we have twice times this, which is 36 students, which means 36 students got grade 2s. And we already know how many students got grade 3s, 39. So how many students passed the examination? It will be 18 plus 36 plus 39 students, which is equal to 93 students that passed the exam. Determine the value of the angle of the sector representing grade 1 in the pie chart. That's this sector here, the angle. Now we have a total of 120 students. So we have 18 students got a grade 1. So we have 18 over 120. And we have to multiply that by, well, we'll just now. So we could simplify this a little bit more. This is 9 over 60. And we want to get the angle. So this is 9/60 of the circle, and the circle has 360 degrees. So we have 60 into 60 is 1, 60 into 360 is 4, sorry, 6. And 9 6s are 54. So this is 54 degrees is representing the grade 1. Okay, so I will stop the video here because I don't want it to get too long, and we will take a look at the rest of the past paper in another video. Thank you for coming. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and see you in the next one.